Shabbat Shalom, Israel. Peace unto the 12 tribes that are scattered to the four winds in the land of your captivity. Today is a good day. Today is May 23rd, 2015. And we give all praises to Ahaya, who taught us in Exodus that is his name. I am who I am. With that being said, I have energy because it is the Sabbath. We're going to go into the lesson. And the lesson is, what is a sign?
Now you can run, but you can't hide. You try to fight, but get it right. He sent his words for us to live by. Keep his commandments, just so that you won't die. Don't you profane his name, pollute his Sabbath day.
The Lord spake unto Moses, saying, Speak thou also unto the children of Israel, saying, Verily my Sabbaths ye shall keep, for it is a sign between me and you throughout your generations, that ye may know that I am the Lord that doth sanctify you. Ye shall keep the Sabbath therefore, for it is holy unto you. Every one that defileth it shall surely be put to death. For whosoever doeth any work therein, that soul shall be cut off from among his people. 6 days may work be done, but in the seventh is the Sabbath of rest, holy to the Lord. Whosoever doeth any work in the Sabbath day, he shall surely be put to death. Wherefore the children of Israel shall keep the Sabbath, to observe the Sabbath throughout their generations, for a perpetual covenant. It is a sign between me and the children of Israel forever. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, and on the seventh day he rested and was refreshed. And he gave unto Moses, when he had made an end of communing with him upon Mount Sinai, 2 tables of testimony, tables of stone, written with the finger of God.
Put on a whole new mind, that is the godly way. Harden not your heart the day you hear the voice of the Lord. Our Father in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom, come thy will be done. In heaven, give us this day. I want to walk like you, talk like you, and live like you, pray like you, walk in truth. Give us this day. I want to walk like you, talk like you, and live like you.
After this manner therefore pray ye, Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. Amen.
Pray like you, who won't get you. Give us this day. You got to hold on. The whole world's gone wrong. You got to stay right, stay in the fight. You got to give your all. Keep his law. He wants to save your sins, so let him come on in. He that has the need, let him hear. He can turn away the enemy if you fear. The time is getting short. The time is drawing near. The promise he will keep. The Zion for his feet. Harden not your heart today. You hear the voice of the Lord. In heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom, come, thy will be done. In heaven, give us this day.
And Jesus returned in the power of the Spirit into Galilee. And there went out a fame of him through all the region round about. And he taught in their synagogues, being glorified of all. And he came to Nazareth, where he had been brought up. And as his custom was, he went into a synagogue on the Sabbath day, and stood up for to read. And there was delivered unto him the book of the prophet Esaias. And when he had opened the book, he found the place where it was written, The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because he hath anointed me to preach the gospel to the poor. He hath sent me to heal the brokenhearted, to preach deliverance to the captives, and recovering of sight to the blind, to set at liberty them that are bruised, to preach the acceptable year of the Lord. And he closed the book, and gave it again to the minister, and sat down. And the eyes of all them that were in the synagogue were fastened on him. And he began to say unto them, This day is the scripture fulfilled in your ears. The Son of Man is Lord even of the Sabbath day. And he said unto them, that the Son of Man is Lord also of the Sabbath. And it came to pass also on another Sabbath, that he entered into the synagogue and taught.
Gave them my decrees, and made known to them my laws, through which people will live, if they obey them. Also I gave them my Sabbaths, as a sign between us, so they would know that I, the Lord, made them holy. Yet the people of Israel rebelled against me in the wilderness. They did not follow my decrees, but rejected my laws, through which people will live, if they obey them. And they utterly desecrated my Sabbaths. So I said, I would pour out my wrath on them, and destroy them in the wilderness. But for the sake of my name, I did what would keep it from being profaned in the eyes of the nations in whose sight I had brought them out. Also with uplifted hand, I swore to them in the wilderness that I would not bring them into the land I had given them, a land flowing with milk and honey, the most beautiful of all lands, because they rejected my laws, and did not follow my decrees, and desecrated my Sabbaths, for their hearts were devoted to their idols. Yet I looked on them with pity, and did not destroy them, or put an end to them in the wilderness. I said to their children in the wilderness, Do not follow the statutes of your parents, or keep their laws, or defile yourselves with their idols. I am the Lord your God. Follow my decrees, and be careful to keep my laws. Keep my Sabbaths holy, that they may be a sign between us. Then you will know that I am the Lord your God.
So Ezekiel 20 and Exodus 31 was read for us for understanding, to give us two witnesses to show us that the Sabbath day is a sign. It's a sign between you, which is Israel, and the Creator, the Most High, which is Ahia. He gave you this in the very beginning of creation, and it's going to be established, all his righteous laws and judgments in that 1,000 years of peace. So every time you hear someone say shalom, that means peace. When we're talking about that 1,000 years of peace with Yeshua. Now that we know that the Sabbath is a sign, He given us many other signs in the Word. But I want you to understand, if you're wearing a cross around your neck, the cross is the Star of David, a regular cross, those are not what he's talking about as a sign. First and foremost, the only one that can give a sign about the Most High is the Most High. Man, all mankind, man and woman, we cannot make up a sign. Now, he gave us a sign of a rainbow. And again, that rainbow shows that this world will never be completely covered over in water and mankind destroyed by that. He will not let that happen again. So anytime you see a rainbow, that's his promise that if he does destroy you, it won't be by water. So that is a sign. We also see in Matthew 12:40, he gave another sign to know if you're worshiping him, that he spent 3 days and 3 nights in the heart of the earth, and he's going to get the victory over sin and be resurrected again. And if you keep Good Friday, you're calling Yeshua a liar, that he didn't spend 3 days and 3 nights in the earth. So those are signs. But the most important sign that I want you to see is that Israel is a light unto the world. Like the song says, we want to walk, talk, pray, and be just like him. And we look in the beginning in Genesis, the first thing that was on this planet was that light, was the creator. Is that essence that goes inside of all mankind. And he's that light unto the world. And we follow after that example. And that example is that we're supposed to be just like him, and we're supposed to be a light unto the Gentiles. We're supposed to be a light unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel. So that is a sign. And how do we know that's a sign? We can look in Deuteronomy chapter 28. And he tells us that these curses will fall upon us for a sign and wonder. Now, if we keep that Sabbath day, that's a blessing. And the world should be able to look at us and see that, okay, it's not the first day of the week. It's not any other day that people are making up. It's only the day that the Father gave us. When we keep those feast days, again, that's a sign. We don't pollute his Sabbaths, plural. That's a sign for people to see that the Creator is there. When we keep that dietary law, and that's the essence of your temple. Whenever you say church, you're talking about your body. That's your temple. And when we keep that dietary law, again, that's a sign. That's a sign that you don't need all this medication, pharmacology, this witchcraft that's given to our people. The only thing you got to do is obey the commandments, and he will keep that temple clean. When we keep that Sabbath day, no longer we walking by flesh, we're trying to turn our life into a spiritual journey. So it's not one day of the week. The other 6 days of the week, if you keep the Sabbath day, you're building up the kingdom. On the first day of the week, I'm building up the kingdom. Second day, the third day, the fourth day, the fifth day, the sixth day, then the seventh day, I come back and I learn. I learned the law. And why did we learn the law? Because during them other 6 days, the law is going to be put in question. The law is going to be asked questions of us. And then we're going to have to learn what the law is. And then see that spirit that we know in Galatians 5:22 and how to deal with whatever that question in the law is. If they come to you and ask you about abortion, premarital sex, shacking up, living with a guy and a girl. I'm getting a brand new job. Is it okay? I tell them I'm available 7 days a week. I'm going out to eat with my family. Is it okay that we go eat at the Crab Shack? All these different things are just examples of the law. I'm trying to make an atonement. I have sinned. What is the proper sacrifice I'm supposed to make after I do sin? The law teaches you this. Do I continue on sinning? Do I play dumb? Do I have to confess my sins to another? See, the law will help you grow in such a way that once you put the spirit of Yeshua behind it, you can't go wrong. So, that's the sign that the Most High wants you to have. Putting a cross around your neck won't do it. Going to a building once a week won't do it. What does it is actually living it out. Now, I can talk to all the people in the world, but unless I'm keeping those commandments, it does me no bit of good. I can go worship every Sunday. I can go worship every Sabbath day. But unless I'm actually keeping the commandments and the spirit that was given to me, it does me no good. As Paul says in Romans 7, I'm only talking to those that understand the law at this point. The law is holy, righteous, and good as long as we keep it in the spirit that the Yeshua taught us to keep it in. The Most High gave it to us before there was a planet Earth. So, if you want to know what a sign is, and if you don't know right now, the sign is you, Israel. You're the inheritance. When somebody passes away and they open up the will, they leave behind an inheritance. I know most of us in Israel, we broke, so we don't know much about this anyway. But when they leave behind an inheritance, that shows what is theirs and what was their legacy, what was left over. We are Yeshua's inheritance. We are what was left behind and what he's coming back to claim. He's going to regather us out the four winds with a righteous hand. And when he regathers us, all of us won't make it if you don't know how to humble yourself with the spirit that he gave you. And the law is spiritual. So with that, I hope this is a good enough information for you to understand. If you hear anybody teaching, talking about a sign, I know in the Hebrew language, you have the Aleph and the Tav. And we'll see that Yeshua, the one they called Jesus, or Yeshua, depending on what tongue you are speaking, he says he's the Alpha and Omega. In Hebrew, it's the Aleph and the Tav. And the Aleph, one of the symbols they have for that was an ox head. And it means power. And they put up bulls where you can actually see in New York City, golden calves they still have out there that represents that power. We see that Moses' brother, Aaron, when they got twisted going after their own idols, again, he made up another golden calf and they worshiped it because that was their sign for the Most High. And it wasn't acceptable. We also know the Most High dwelled in Egypt before he took them out of Egypt. And at that time, they had a cross there. It was called the Ankh. And the Ankh was a sign for life. And that still wasn't good enough. You got to understand there's only one sign that's good enough, And that's you, Israel. That's you keeping the commandments. And that's why we're such a disappointment to our Creator, to the Most High, to Ahia, to Yeshaya, why we're such a disappointment, because we don't want to be His son. We want to be everything else. We want to go back into idolatry over and over again. We want to teach man that this is okay, that this is good enough. Wear this cross, you all right. Get this fish symbol, you cool. And it's not. What is the only appropriate sign is the way you live your life in the commandments and what spirit you are walking them in. And with that, I hope this was a good enough lesson. I hope it helped somebody, but again, I know it helped me. So, I love you, Israel, and peace. Shalom.